Calaroga Shark Media.
Man, what a game, huh? And that halftime show, wow. And that thing Taylor did. No, I taped this in advance. I watched the Super Bowl yesterday. We'll talk about the Super Bowl tomorrow. Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. This is the week where Shane Gillis will host Saturday Night Live, and it is being well discussed even in the UK. The Independent, under the headline, SNL host Shane Gillis may be offensive, but he isn't the devil. They write, after his initial firing by SNL, Shane Gillis was championed by many on the American right as a victim of cancel culture. Some have gone further, imposing political beliefs onto Gillis, such as support of Donald Trump, that he's never personally espoused. In 2019, Gillis clarified he had not voted for Trump, and he says, as soon as they decide you're a bad guy, you're just alt-right now or something. The Independent writes, watch Gillis' show, and you can't deny his material is liable to offend. He doesn't shy away from certain slurs and makes crass jokes about sensitive topics, but in the world of comedy, this is hardly disqualifying. From Bill Burr to Frankie Boyle, there are plenty of precedents. Liberal or left-wing or centrist comedians who are more than willing to throw around offensive words or ideas for the sake of a laugh or to provoke a reaction. Louis C.K., the now disgraced stand-up, whose creative influence is unmissable in Gillis' style, was once adept at this, taking an objectionable or distasteful thought and carrying it on stage to its natural extreme. You may recall a pre-canceled Louis C.K. was being compared to George Carlin. The Independent writes, to some extent, the question comes down to intent, to whether or not the comedy is hateful or simply problematic. Look, for instance, at Gillis' routine about Down syndrome. There are things in there to object to it, generalizations, patronizations, all done with gleeful awareness of the taboo, but within the same material, there are also affectionate and seemingly well-intentioned observational jokes about a family member with Down syndrome. To brand it outright hate speech would take a black and white, deeply unpragmatic view of the world. Comedy can be harmful without being hateful, and some jokes are more harmful than others. Expect some sparks to fly during the opening monologue, but this is more likely to be a bearing of the hatchet than a resumption of grievances. At the end of the day, Shane Gillis has always seemed less interested in scoring political points than in simply going for the laugh at whatever cost. Megyn Kelly, and I'm just going to go first, this is really stupid. She took a shot at Shane Gillis and other celebrities because they bend the knee to Bud Light. He went from doing slurs that the left finds upsetting to issuing one out of his mouth the right finds upsetting, which is Bud Light. Really? Really? I mean, just really? You're mad that Shane Gillis is selling Bud Light? I'll tell you right now, if Bud Light wants to sponsor the show for 10 years, write the check. Megyn said, I'm actually not sure what he's doing either, because not only is he going on SNL, but he's partnering with Bud Light, which is basically a slur in Republican circles. What? Here, I'll insult my friend Mike in Cleveland. Hey, Mike, I bet you drink Bud Light. Whew. Oh, maybe I can get canceled. I bet Taylor Swift drinks Bud Light. Bring it, Swifties. It's called Daily Comedy News. Megyn Kelly said, will you go buy Bud Light because Shane Gillis got paid a bunch of money to go speak for them? Does that help your life? Oh my, find something to talk about, Megyn. Actually, don't. Keep doing this because this is great content for me. Media in Toto asked, is the left trying to re-cancel Shane Gillis on SNL? All right, so Shane, the right hates you because of Bud Light, and now the left hates you too. Everyone hates Shane Gillis. He has no fans whatsoever. I don't know why he's hosting SNL because both the left and the right hate him. I guess centrists love Shane Gillis. Media in Toto writes, take NBC News. The far left outlet published an essay entitled, With Shane Gillis Return to SNL, Asians ask when they'll stop being the punchline. I covered that, I think, last Friday. Toto writes, is there anything new here? Of course not. Does Gillis make it a habit of specifically targeting Asian people? Of course not. Does he spend endless hours in front of a podcast mic squeezing funny observations from every source possible? Of course. Do those Asian riffs represent his best work? Of course not. Then they threw some shade and wrote, Howard Stern has said far, far worse in his days, and he's never been canceled. Well, the media has been complicit in the establishment Howard myth of the last 10 years. Howard has laid groundwork that his obituary would be that he was the great interviewer. And I haven't enjoyed late period Howard, loved early period Howard. And there are things that I listened to or I watched on his TV show that have been just washed from the internet. But this idea that Howard Stern's career was he interviewed people, come on, no. Why don't you Google Howard Stern blackface? Website Them writes, Shane Gillis hosting Saturday Night Live is a slap in the face to queer viewers. Even as the show courts LGBTQ plus fans, it platforms comics like Gillis and Dave Chappelle. They write, in the comedy world, it was a banner week for queerphobia. Not that it's ever gone out of style. Dave Chappelle, who treats anti-trans mockery like a holy crusade, won his 5th Grammy Award for Best Comedy Album in 6 years. Meanwhile, Shane Gillis rode America's hard rightward pivot straight to an upcoming hosting slot on the February 24th edition of SNL. I'll chime in, except we just learned that the right hates him because he promotes Bud Light. Them writes, if Gillis's name means less than 0 to you, congratulations on your blissful life, you offline legend. Went for a run, humble brag. I'm so out of shape. Oh my goodness. You can go from marathon ready-ish to completely out of shape in, let's see, 3 months. Oh my goodness. On the run, I listened to Marc Maron's fantastic interview with John Oliver. So much fun, and it went so quickly. I thought it was interesting at the beginning in the monologue segment. Maron is self-aware. I had brought up recently that sometimes Maron and younger comedians kind of don't connect. Maybe Maron listens to me, because he said, sometimes I can be a little pokey and a little mild chat busting going on, some slight bullying occasionally. In the interview, John Oliver talked about not getting The Daily Show, and I'm going to play the actual clip. I'll comment after. Here's John.
I didn't stay at The Daily Show because John was still there. And
no, but even if you were set up to be the next guy, did that factor into your decision not to follow up on that?
The next guy to
host a show, to Daily Show.
The Daily Show?
Yeah.
They didn't. I think it was clear when we would, because my contract expired at the end of the year that I hosted for John over that summer.
Yeah.
And I think it became clear at the end of the day they didn't really care about me.
Oh, really?
And because I think John, our idea for me to stay, this is our idea being just John and I, was that I would do the summers from now on. And then so he could take the summers off, which he wanted a break. I think they could have had him for longer if they'd allowed that, but they were not interested in that at all. So then it becomes clear, then you really don't care.
Right.
Which is fine, but it is now painfully obvious. So I should probably go somewhere else.
Okay.
And then, talking to various commercial outlets, there was just an innate instinct of, I could do this. I don't think it'll go great.
Yeah.
There might be a way that I can find myself to doing the things that I used to love Letterman doing when he's just criticizing his parent company.
Yeah. But so that was the model?
But I don't have the Letterman. No, I always loved that instinct with him. But I had no standing with which to do that. So a much easier move, the luxury move, to me was to go to HBO where there is no corporate commercial pressure from advertisers, so you truly can say what you want.
Right.
So they didn't want John Oliver? Ooh, that's a swing and a miss. I always wondered, did Stewart not tell anyone that he was leaving soon? Because wouldn't he want to hold on to John Oliver? But this kind of clears up that Oliver didn't feel like they wanted him. He did a good job that summer, and apparently HBO agrees. Tom Papa hosted the Polestar Awards. Didn't even know these were going on. Taylor Swift won Major Tour of the Year, and that is an understatement, well-deserved. And if you want to keep up on Taylor Swift, follow the podcast Taylor Swift Today. I'm sure they're talking about whatever happened at the Super Bowl. Taylor was not in attendance because she was playing Tokyo, but Dave Chappelle stopped by. He won Comedy Tour of the Year. Dave said, I used to take this stuff for granted, but this last tour was hard as F. I want to thank everyone at Live Nation, everyone on that team, everyone at Netflix. That was a real special tour. It was a hard one, but man, this stuff is great. The New York Times went to see Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. They're doing some stand-up, apparently. Tina Fey asked, are there any dads in the crowd who had either Tina or Amy as hall passes 2 decades ago? Many hands shot up. The Times writes, if the phrase mom jeans makes you instantly crack up, you'll love this show. So this is really emotionally confusing to me because I think they're targeting people who are exactly my age, and I'd like to think I'm slightly cooler than this. I'm so confused. Fey is all sharp edges and slashing wit, her deadpan unshakable, keeping the audience and her partner at a distance. Amy Poehler is more vulnerable, even a bit fragile, discussing kids' trauma or aging. She jokes, my memory's like a cat. It will not come when called. She, of course, told it better because that is obviously a hilarious joke. The Times writes, the show itself is a throw everything at the wall mess, a visually indifferent collection of parts, some that probably would have been cut or honed by a ruthless director. Ouch. There were sex jokes and mom jokes written the day of the show about President Biden making an appearance on the Upper West Side. That joke, again, and I don't know who told it, and obviously told much better than this. The traffic hasn't this bad since the opening scene of Fame. Yeah. There's an okay Donald Trump joke that receives a big response and a strong OCD punchline that doesn't. There were jokes that only New Yorkers would get. I'm not sure who told this one. I took the 4 train and I didn't even have a doctor's appointment. Yeah, New Yorkers would get that joke. That's not a bad New York joke. Tina Fey said, "This really feels just like SNL, except they were in bed by 10, and I don't have to go to a weird Tuesday night dinner with Lorne Michaels and Rudy Giuliani." That's funny. Donnell Rawlings will have a new special produced by Chappelle's Home Team production banner. This was recorded last fall at the New York Comedy Festival at the Hard Rock. It is titled Chappelle's Home Team, Donnell Rawlings, A New Day. The logline reads, "It's a new day, and Donnell Rawlings is feeling good, dressed in a blue suit, red socks, and lotion ankles. He's here to discuss toxic relationships, traveling to New Zealand, aging, co-parenting, and much more." Chappelle told Variety, "I've been doing this a long time. Comedians like Donnell are not only friends, but have inspired my own career. Anyone in the comedy community who knows these names and knows their time to shine is long overdue. I'm proud to be part of this moment." A New Day, Netflix, February 27th. Fox is hot on Animal Control. That's the Joel McHale sitcom that you probably watched 2 episodes of and forgot it existed. It's back for its 2nd season on March 6th. They've already renewed it for a 3rd season. Animal Control had Fox's most streamed debut in network history, and the most streamed comedy episode ever in the network's history. Does that include The Simpsons? Nice lineup at the Comedy Cellar at the Rio tonight if you're still in town after the Super Bowl. Kendall Ward, Sophie Buttle, who's great, Marsha Warfield, Josh Adam Myers, and Mark Cohen, 7 and 9:30 at the Comedy Cellar. And that is your comedy news for today. See you tomorrow.